I, 50M, found myself abandoned by my wife, 48F, so she could rediscover herself. My wife's family has a history of dementia, developing memory issues in their mid to late 50s. Her mom, grandmother, and several other relatives on her mom's side have developed dementia. Due to her mom's dementia, she had lived with us for 4 years, until earlier this year. Our kids are independent and out of the house, and the oldest is in her last semester of college. The last 4 years have been tough on us, our kids, and our marriage. Living with someone that suffers from dementia is far from easy. The last 2 years, my wife and me had many conversations about plans on taking our regular savings, sell or rent the house, as we were ready to downsize anyway, quit our jobs and travel for a year, or until the money runs out. The only thing that held us back was waiting for her mom to move into a home. My wife had a lot of anxiety about developing dementia, and I was burned out from my job. Life through COVID, both working remote, a college and high school student taking remote classes, and a MIL with dementia, had all seriously impacted our lives, and we could really use a break from it all. Now finally there was a spot to move her mom into a care facility, and I finally thought we would have a chance to go on this large trip we had planned. However, after that, my wife's mental health went on a huge downward spiral. I went from caring for her mom to caring for her. She felt guilty about putting her mom in a home and had lots of anxiety about developing dementia. We decided, however, that we would still plan our travel plans and decided that we would start our trip in the summer of 2024. Now here is where the issues start. 2 months ago, I got home and couldn't find my wife. After looking for her, I found out that she had left me a note. This note basically said that she was going on our trip without me. She had quit her job, took most of the savings, and wasn't sure when she'd be back. It could be a year, maybe more, maybe less. She wrote that she knew I'd understand, and I would do just fine. I immediately tried to contact her, but her location is turned off, and my calls go directly to voicemail. As for our finances, we had our own checking accounts for direct deposits of our paychecks, but we'd have the habit of transferring most of it into a joint account so we could pay the household bills. We also both had access to main savings account, and we had joint credit cards we used for household expenses. She had taken nearly all the money of our joint accounts, and I closed down the remain that was left to make sure she would not completely bankrupt me. I honestly expected her to come back soon, but as a month passed by and I only received one text, I decided to contact a lawyer. My lawyer said there was very little we could do, other than change the beneficiaries of my retirement accounts and life insurance. My lawyer advised me to keep paying the mortgage and the cars. As it had only been a month, the cost of trying to get a judge to approve the sale of our joint assets would be more than making payments. Now and then, I get random texts, and she sporadically posts on Instagram. Her last post was from Hawaii, and she even put in the comments how great a husband I was for letting her take this trip. I'm barely making it, paying for 2 cars, a mortgage, household bills, insurance, and I have to pray that there are no emergencies because she took all the savings away. All this while she is enjoying this trip. I'm so angry at her. I helped to take care of her mom for 4 years, and she returns the favor by abandoning me. I'll never get to take this trip and have to put off retirement. My only solace is that the kids are on my side and are also angry at her. To make matters worse, I recently reached out to her and asked her if she was sleeping around. A week later, she responded with, "I'm not sure. I'm 99% sure that she's hooking up with other guys. She good looking and I'm sure she has no issue with finding guys. So yeah, I'm sitting alone on a Friday night and she's somewhere, probably on a beach, enjoying her life." Update. I'm feeling much more positive now, as my financial situation has become a little more manageable. Basically, I'm running up debt that will get paid off when I sell the house. Even with lawyer fees, I have 6 to 8 more months before I have to worry about money, assuming there are no emergencies. My friend's wife gave me some good advice. I need to make sure I do not become a villain in my kids' eyes. How I talk about and treat my wife will determine my future relationship with my kids. Furthermore, I followed up with my lawyer, and she basically said we're going to have her pay back the savings she took through a reduction in her share of the assets. She'll also have to repay the money I spent maintaining the household while she was gone. There is plenty of equity in her share of the house and her retirement plans to cover that. The best case now is that she agrees to the terms of the divorce, which would end up making this whole ordeal relatively cheap and quick. If she decides to challenge everything, it will become complicated and expensive, but I assume things will go fine. For now, I'll have to just wait. Now that my financial situation is less stressful, I'm actually enjoying being on my own. I'm free to do whatever I want, whenever I want. I don't have to cook, clean, or take care of anyone. I loved my wife, but I see now that her mental health weighed down our marriage. I'm not looking forward to her returning. I know it is inevitable though, and when she comes back, I'll have to deal with her, the divorce, getting the house ready to sell, dividing all our stuff, and finding a new place to live. For now, I'm going to enjoy my time without worries, and I'll update you when I know more. Update. My wife texted me in the middle of December, informing me that she'd be home for Christmas. I told her that we, our daughter and I, would be at my brother's, and she obviously wasn't welcome. I also informed her that she wasn't allowed in the house unless I was there, and as she didn't have keys to get in, she spent Christmas with her sister. When we got back, I met with her and decided not to be overly confrontational because I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of thinking I cared enough to be mad. She was taken by surprise about how detached Elle was. I could tell it bothered her that I didn't show much emotion. I said to her that I just wanted her to agree to a divorce. Apart from the divorce talk, my daughter and I also had many questions. This is a summary of several different meetings. First of all, I asked why she left without telling anyone. She said she didn't want to wait a year, she didn't want anyone talking her out of it, and she didn't want to work anymore. She wanted to leave before her mental health got worse, and just decided one day that she would go on her own. Now, this sounds like a lot of crap to me. We had carefully decided to go summer of 2024 for a few reasons. We had to pack everything and get the house ready to sell, which was going to be a lot of work. We also wanted to make sure our daughter was able to graduate college, get a job, and had time to settle. Finally, we also wanted to make sure we had money when we got back, as we wouldn't have a house, car, or job. We had agreed that we didn't want to have any worries or deal with a mess back home. My next question to her was why she didn't just get a divorce before she left. This way she wouldn't have had to do this behind our backs, and she would have had plenty of money without stealing our joint savings. She claims that she didn't want a divorce. She just wanted us to live whatever life she figured out. Clearly she does not understand how marriages work. One person can't be deciding for the other. When asked what she wanted to do from now on, she told me she wants to be a digital nomad, working part-time, fully remote, and traveling around to new places. She even tried to convince me to go with her, but I'll never be able to trust her. Plus, I don't love her anymore. She also asked how the kids had been doing. Our son wouldn't have seen us the entire time she was gone anyway, and he only responds to her with very short texts. He told me she wanted to see him, but he said he was too busy and wouldn't be able to get away. It is clear he doesn't feel the need to see her at this point in time. My daughter also stopped texting her. She's angry at her mom that she's not thinking about her kids and thinks she is simply being selfish. She had hoped her mom would stick around when she got back, but now completely has given up any hope. For now she looks happy, and that is the most important thing to me. I also wanted to know if she had spent all the money. She told me she spent about half. I followed up with asking if she felt any remorse for putting us through this whole ordeal. She told me that she does feel bad now and wishes that she had handled it differently. At the same time, however, she said that getting away was the best thing that has happened to her. At that point, I simply told her she was just being selfish. I told her she had been taking the easy route while everyone else had to handle the difficult parts of life. Up until now, she had nothing to worry about, as she had the money and the time, but I told her this wouldn't always be the case, she disregarding all my comments, however. Now, despite how it might sound, I'm actually really happy with how it all turned out. After our talk, we were able to agree on the major things regarding our divorce. We will sell the house and split the retirement and profit from the house. She will pay back the money she took and pay me for what I spent maintaining the household. I got most of what I wanted from the settlement, and soon she will be out of my life. I won't have to pay alimony, and because she's choosing to make significantly less money than she was, I won't be forced to support her. I have also started dating again. Currently, I'm not fighting women off with a stick, but I've had a lot more interest than I had expected. It's been kind of nice meeting new women. I've worked out the numbers, and I'll be doing pretty well after everything is settled, and I only have to support myself. Not where I wanted to be at an age of 50, but I'm happier now than I've been in a while. I'm even planning a little vacation of my own.